Welcome, everyone, to this latest edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host, Albert Sita. Thank you again for joining us here on whatever platform you are listening or watching us, whether it be wherever you get your podcasts, either Spotify, I was going to say Podomatic, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, wherever you get your audio at, and also on YouTube. Thank you all for taking the time. Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic here. Albert, how's it going, man?
It's going real good.
Did you get that GameStop stock?
No, I didn't.
GameStop stock?
I'm not that woke, bro.
No.
So I wasn't able to get it, but I was able to get something else, and that's what I was gonna. If we were gonna talk about my little 24-week thing,
Yeah.
It didn't go so good this week as far as working out. The diet was whatever, but I couldn't really work out that bad because I got the COVID vaccine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I got it on Monday. And right now I don't feel like a zombie. I don't feel like eating blood or children. I haven't felt no glitches inside my body. But the only thing was the next day, almost exactly 24 hours from when I got the shot, I got some chills and I felt fatigued.
Okay.
Good night's rest. The next day I felt perfectly fine.
Yeah.
My arm a little bit sore. So I took that on Monday, but by Thursday I was perfectly fine.
Did you get the Moderna or Pfizer?
Moderna.
Moderna? Okay.
Yeah, so they hooked me up with the Moderna one. And so I get my second shot, obviously in February.
Yeah, 28 days
I
later.
hear the second shot might have a little bit more chances of a reaction.
Yeah, it's like that's the booster shot, so you're supposed to get like some of the symptoms. But honestly, it really depends on like your individual immune system and your own body. So
after the first shot, I was perfectly fine, but I obviously it was a little bit tricky to work out.
Yeah.
Feeling I'm gonna drop the F-bomb because I was feeling really. That's something. When that 24 hours hit, dude, I was fatigued, bro. Like all my body wanted to do was take a nap.
Did you also heard too? You get muscle soreness in the injection site as well, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got.
That's standard with every. Well, Albert, you are now in the vaccination nation.
And I'm also part of the Matrix, like apparently, and they might have an activation button where I turn into a zombie.
Well,
so
we'll see. You're not woke. you don't got any GameStop stock. You got the vaccine. You are not woke at all, bro.
No, I'm not, bro.
Completely not woke.
Apparently, I'm doing the opposite.
You
of
need to
right
get
now.
on YouTube and get in those conspiracy theories now. Like, we actually stop recording. Get on there now. Get woke. Get back woke.
It's for some reason. I don't know if it's because I saw so much Bill Nye and the Science Guy as a kid.
Yeah.
But I just gravitate.
You believe in science?
I just gravitate to science. I'm sorry, guys. And don't get me wrong. I love conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
You should see me. I'd be all up in the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm a man of science.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just gotta go by the data.
Yeah, I think you're. What's the clan? Is Raised by Wolves? There's an atheist and there's a science.
Yeah.
The atheists are the science group, right?
Yeah. Did you finish the series?
No, I'm halfway through it.
Because I don't want to spoil it.
I'm halfway through it.
Because one of the brilliant things about that series is how you can see how one can go from this to this.
Yeah.
And how sometimes you can be in the middle.
Yeah.
It's a really good series.
It's really good. So if people don't know, Raised by Wolves is basically a dystopian future where it's literally two groups of society. It's the atheists who believe in science, and then those who are more of the
extreme
religious faith. Yeah.
I mean, but you have to go to the extreme side. I think you have to make that clear because to say like they're just religious.
No, it's like super extreme. Yeah. Was it the soul? They believe in soul, right?
Soul.
Yeah. So, SOL, not like it's kind of the sun and your own soul. So it's a little play on words, but it's actually really, really entertaining and really kind of
really Scott, genius.
Yeah, where things can go in the future. So, yeah, so we'll track your weight loss. We'll track your vaccination process here on 5RoundMMA. So Albert C to being the guinea pig for us in 2021. I appreciate it, man.
I would definitely let everybody know if I get a thirst for blood.
So this week's show, we got a lot to talk about. We have the amazing thing that was booked. We have Jake Paul versus Ben Askren in a boxing match. We're gonna preview Alistair Overeem's continued run to a heavyweight title this coming weekend as well. We're going to look at WWE Network being purchased by NBC Universal and now be on the Peacock Network. And also, we're going to continue our conversation from last week about the Undertaker just maybe putting his boot in his mouth, and maybe the less is more with him But that's also too. So also too, I know this week's the Royal. When you guys are listening to this, the Royal Rumble has already happened, but we're recording before the Royal Rumble, so we'll have our reactions and recaps next week.
I want you to find the conspiracy behind that.
Exactly, which is going to be kind of good too, because we'll have the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown afterwards, so we can kind of see how it's going to play out, at least for WrestleMania. So all of our Royal Rumble recap will be on next week's show. So Albert, Cita, let's get started with round number 1, please. It was announced late last week or early this week that Jake Paul, right? Because I called him Logan Paul earlier.
Yeah, he had the wrong Paul brother.
Yeah,
how embarrassing. I thought you were a journalist, Alex. Come on.
These aren't even real people to me. So Jake Paul to face UFC fighter Ben Askren in a boxing match with that Thriller promotion, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's the one that did the Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah,
which I thought they did a really good job.
At least production-wise, right? Yeah. Well, Albert, see to fix his mic here.
Yeah, I'm having real bad issues right here.
I need you on this one. I know nothing about Jake Paul. So I guess his brother Logan Paul, he's the one that's going to wrestle. Might as well be a wrestling match. Box Floyd Mayweather, right?
Yeah, he's going to box Floyd Mayweather, which has already been postponed.
Really?
Yeah, they had a set date, but I guess they're saying because of COVID and various other stuff, they're going to have to postpone the fight. So that one's actually already been pushed back, but he's supposed to fight Floyd Mayweather pretty soon.
So is Jake Paul, is he the one who boxed Nate Robinson?
Yeah, Jake Paul's the one that boxed Nate Robinson.
Okay.
And is the only Paul brother with an actual winning record in boxing.
Okay.
So just to speed you up. So there's a big debate, I guess, in the social community, which one's technically the better boxer. I'm covering my face. I know you guys like to look at me. But in my opinion, the older brother who's fighting Floyd Mayweather, from what I've seen, is technically the better boxer.
Okay.
It's just he gets tired real easily.
Okay.
And you take him to deep waters, and you could probably beat him.
Yeah. Okay.
Jake Paul has had success. He's won 3 fights, I think, and he's the one that knocked down Nate Robinson.
Got it. We got Stephen A. Smith on the thing here for some reason.
That's commercial.
So Ben Askren, when MMA fighter, actually not really known for his stand-up, right? More of a ground and pound wrestler. Can take you down like that.
It's funny because he's not known for his stand-up, but he is known for his stand-up because of how bad
how bad it is. So people are saying that's going to be like, with that, it's going to be like nullified, right? You got the Jake Paul, who's been boxing but not a real fighter. You have Ben Askren, who's a professional fighter, the wrestler, Bellator, won championship, UFC, high-level fighter, not known for his stand-up. So that kind of, I guess, is kind of an even matchup for Jake Paul. But how do you see this play out? Is it Ben Askren's his to win or what?
So here's my little whole thing about the whole. So I think this is the best chance Jake Paul has of beating a combat fighter.
Combat athlete, yeah.
Sorry.
Combat sports athlete, yeah.
Yeah. This is the best chance. Best chance. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Because even though Ben Askren isn't known for his striking, it's not like he hits his MMA gym and all he does is takedowns.
Yeah.
He has a boxing coach, people. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
He has a striking coach, right?
Coach, yeah.
Of course. Like, they're striking in MMA. You must be absolutely dumb if you don't have a striking coach in MMA.
Yeah.
So, he hasn't put that much time into just working out his hands, which, or in other aspects of boxing, because not all boxing aspects works in MMA. But to say the guy has no striking ability is kind of dumb.
Yeah, well,
it's not in the caliber of what we've seen a premier striker, but come on, he has a striking coach.
And it's not like we never saw it because he never needed to, right? Because he knew, like,
was that good.
It's so good. Whoever's opposite with me, I'm going to take him down, and I'm just going to ground and pound him for, 15, 25 minutes because I'm that good.
Exactly. And what I like to point out for people to say, well, Jake Paul's been boxing more. Yeah, but he wasn't boxing as a kid until now. There's difference. He took up boxing just recently.
Yeah.
Maybe he has more years of just training boxing by itself than Ben Askren, and that's why I said it's the best chance Jake Paul has to beat a combat athlete.
Yeah,
but I don't think the narrative should be changed. Ben Askren's a combat athlete.
Yeah,
he put in striking time. I think now all he has to do is focus just on boxing. That's why I still give the edge to Ben Askren, and I think maybe at some points Jake Paul could probably look good, but I don't see how Ben Askren does not take it seriously. And I mean, I just feel like a combat athlete just already kind of has it in their head how.
Yeah, I think it was a day after it was announced Jake Paul was already training with Jorge Masvidal, the quote unquote the great Jorge Masvidal, for some media outlets call him that. Dude, like, people look back at Masvidal's record, he's just a trash talker now, basically.
Yeah.
Never really championship caliber fighter, but smack talk should be fun. We all know Ben Askren is good for smack talking, so maybe that will be good to see. I think he even said Ben Askren said that Dana White gave him kind of permission to do this, or it was agreement. So maybe if he does good here, that could lead to him coming back to the UFC, getting a big time fight. I don't know.
And keep in mind, when you find out about his hip surgery or like how bad his hip was,
yeah,
I'm like, I'm a Ben Askren fan.
Yeah, me too.
And when I hear that, I get so frustrated because I'm like, Ben, why didn't you just have the surgery before you fought those UFC fights? I think it would have been different if its hips were different. Who knows if the George Masvidal would have went different? Because again, I don't care what people try to tell me. I think that was lightning in a bottle, and if you run that back, it does not happen again like the way it happened.
Do that 100 times, 99 times it's going to fail.
Yeah, exactly. So. But after hearing about how bad his hip is, and then now that he had the hip surgery, maybe, who knows? I mean, maybe he's...
All right, well, we'll see. I'm sure it's going to get more interesting. I don't even know when the fight's taking place. Did the date or anything like that?
April 17th.
April 17th. There you go. I'm still learning that there's two of them instead of one. Paul brothers. So
and you got to know which one's
and which. I got no like space in my brain for either one of them. So I'm going to have to rely on you as we come up to the weeks of this whatever this event is. That's it for round number one. We're going to come back and talk about some real MMA now, some real combat sports. We're going to preview the upcoming UFC fight night and look at Alistair Overeem's run for a title shot coming up next. Not go anywhere.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number two. Let's get this party started. Time started. 5 minutes on the clock. Saturday, February 6th, ESPN Fight Night, the Apex Center. Overeem versus Volkov. Big time heavyweight matchup. Over the story here, Overeem pushing he's in his mid 40s. He's in his 40s now, so get one last title run here. Dude has a wealth of experience, been fighting for so long. Now it's kind of like, okay, one more title run here. Can he get to that UFC title picture against Volkov here? Do you think this is a number one contenders match? What do you think?
I wouldn't say it's number one, but it is a very crucial matchup in the heavyweight division. Mm-hmm. I think whoever wins here is still one win away from challenging for the heavyweight belt. Just because, like, man, I mean, it's slim pickings in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
And, I'm leaning towards Demolition Man doing his sweet 40. And
how old is he?
Yeah, he's 40. He's exactly 40.
Okay.
He turns 41 in May.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, looking back at the records now, they both have I think they both lost. They both beat Walt Harris, and they both lost to Curtis Blades. So that's another guy out there who's like that X factor, kind of waiting in the shadows, is Curtis Blades. You also have Derek Lewis, who's still popular and still just one punch away. But, we got the big-time matchup between Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic coming up. So I think now it's just going to be...
And then keep in mind after that, you got John Jones
you got John Jones. Okay, so here we go here. Is this fight... Does a winner here welcome John Jones into the division? If John Jones wants a warm-up fight, or if the UFC wants to justify John Jones getting a title shot right away, do they give him the winner of Overeem Volkov, or do they give John Jones an immediate title shot when he's ready?
That's what I think should happen. But I honestly think John Jones is just going to get that title shot right off the bat. He's getting it right off the bat no matter what, I think. But logic tells me, because, again, it's a good way to ease them into the heavyweight division.
Test them, right?
And then also kind of build. Like, I'm all about the build.
Yeah.
And that's a sweet build if he can beat one of these legit heavyweights. And but I think he's going straight to the championship.
Yeah. And it's also, you also run the risk of him actually getting knocked out. And there goes John Jones. It just got deflated just like that. So I think when John Jones is ready, you get him that title shot no matter what. You can justify it because this dude was one of the greatest martial artists the UFC's ever seen. undefeated light heavyweight. Why not give him a title shot right away? So you can justify it no matter what. But I do think Overeem and Volkov, they're right there. Whoever comes out winning. Who else is on this card? You got Frankie Yeager still fighting against Cody Sandhagen. You got who else? That's pretty much about it on this card.
our good friend of our show, right?
Cody
here.
Stamen, a former guest as well. I think Andre too is also a former at least local here in Southern California. So okay, it looks like a pretty much fight night card.
Wow, Michael Johnson did not make the main card. He's in the prelims with Clay Guida.
Come on, now it's been forever. You got I guess Clay Guida, and that is about it. It looks like so pretty much a standard fight night main event. There's probably some good fights in here for the hardcore fight fans here, but we only have 5 minutes per each round. We only have time to focus on the main course, the and the dessert a little bit too. So Overeem, Volkov, yeah, Frank Yeager. What's Frank Yeager? What's he on now?
He's in bantamweight officially, and he's ranked number 4.
Okay. Make noise for Frank Yeager still, or just kind of hanging around?
No, I think he legit is trying to make a last push effort here. I feel like this is the theme for 2021. The last effort, one last
run.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have that many people in front of him, and if you think about it, if Frank Yeager wins, all he has to do is beat Cody.
Yeah,
and he's in it.
Yeah, Cody Arbor. Yep. Yeah, and you totally could sell that as well too. Because honestly, as much as we want to see the best fighters get the title shots, it's all promotion, right? It's gonna who's more marketable. Frank Yeager, multiple-time champion, had some of the best fights in the UFC history.
And then to tell the truth, if the theme of UFC that started last year of like big name, big pay, you gotta put him through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I think Frankie Yeager is in that weird position as Anderson Silva was, where like, we'll ride you, we'll promote you until you get viciously beat, and then we're going to drop you because you're expensive.
Yeah.
So I think he joins his fellow colleague Chris Weidman in this boat of sink or swim.
Yeah.
So the win, it's potential title shot. Lose,
you're too expensive for us.
You're too expensive. Please go.
You're going to be the PFL.
Yeah.
Maybe not even Bellator wants these XQC guys anymore, so the PFL it is. All right, so UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Volkov this Saturday, February 6th. Check it out. We'll have our reactions to it next week as well. So we're going to take a small break and come back for round number 3, where we're going to talk about, Albert, I want you to kind of ponder this question during our break. Does every fighter, or should everyone have a podcast, or should there be a limit who's allowed to have a podcast?
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 3. We're going to kind of a little self-reflection here and talk about the podcast industry, Albert Sita. So, news made how Casey Kenney, who I think is going to fight Dominic Cruz, I think, coming up. Bantamweight fighter.
I'll get that going while you keep on going. So
basically, he was on the podcast of Sugar Sean O'Malley's podcast. We'll start the timer here. The Timbo Sugar Show. And it's kind of a laid-back show. It looks like I've never seen it. I'm not the biggest Sean O'Malley fan to begin with, so looks like it's one of the podcasts where drinking's involved and get people looser and get more unfiltered opinion on stuff. And then somehow on Casey Kenney's upcoming fight card, UFC women's featherweight title contender, former Invicta champion Megan Anderson was brought on. And Tim Welch randomly asked Casey Kenney, would you, quote, I'm going to paraphrase here, I don't want to exactly see what they said, but would you hook up with Megan Anderson? To which Casey Kenney gave a kind of inappropriate answer that we don't want to repeat here. No. And obviously that's going to catch the wind of everybody, because Megan Anderson said, she's quote on her tweet here, says, I guess MMA is a line of work where you can publicly talk about whether you'd have sex with a coworker in an utterly degrading way and face zero consequences. Disgusting behavior, and it's unfortunate that he'll be fighting on my card in March. And tweet here, and rightfully so, Megan Anderson got a lot of backing here as well, because, dude, I mean, Albert, your thoughts on podcasts like this, where it's cool because they're fighters, right? Yeah, I get to hear fighters talk, and they're talking about fighting, and they know what they're talking about. Not like us, not like you and I. We don't fight for a living. They know what it's like to go through. But when you kind of put that mixture together, this is kind of what you get, right?
Yeah, and the real big problem here is that these are active fighters talking about their colleagues, essentially, which in any job, I don't think that's acceptable. There's a reason why our podcast talks about stuff that we don't do for a living.
Yeah.
Because I still have a occupation with colleagues that it's inappropriate if I talk about them or even mention them because they are my colleagues.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bigger issue too, because the whole reason you have former player analysts is because now they can separate themselves from the organization.
Yeah.
Because they're no longer technically colleagues. They've gone on, they retire. I mean, maybe in the future when me and you retire, we can start our own government podcast or whatever.
Very boring.
But I'm just saying it's not. First of all, it shouldn't be done. I think people from WWE are have the right thing to do. Like one of the biggest success, of course, is dude, I can't think of his name. I've been getting a lot of blanks lately.
Podcast?
It's
not the vaccine, bro.
I know it is.
It's the vaccine.
No, from New Day.
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods. Sorry. So Xavier Woods does not talk about anything about wrestling, whatever. He does video games, which I think is smart, and he's still an active wrestler, and it's not to his benefit to talk about any other wrestling company or any other wrestlers about wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get himself in trouble doing that.
Yeah.
And so I think if these active fighters, I'm not saying don't do your thing, but like keep in mind you're still an active fighter, so maybe you should talk about like I think Sean O'Malley knows his grass. Maybe we should talk about weed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you want to go the route of like talking about MMA, maybe you should separate yourself and not be an MMA fighter.
Or just talk about the fights, like break it down.
Exactly.
Like I've never heard this podcast before, so I don't know what they talk about.
And then the second part is, dude, why would you even ask that? Like, why would you I don't like. I get that they're trying to get this cool, whatever. Like, why would you put that out there, especially knowing the guy is on the card?
Yeah. In the video clip, like I see like a bottle of alcohol in his hands, and like they look like they're kind of like super relaxed. So who knows what was going on before, whether they're drinking or something. I haven't seen this, so I can't really speak to it. But I mean, that environment kind of like, okay, it's cool. But then you guys are also professional fighters. Like,
there's a reason why The Office parodied the whole, is what's her name hot?
Oh, Hillary Swank.
The episode, yeah. Because they're pretty much trying to show you the outcome isn't going to be good no matter. Like, I mean, it's. That's something you don't do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why he even asked that question. And but to me, it just comes down to, I don't think MMA, if you're an active MMA fighter, maybe you shouldn't be talking about MMA.
Or go on somebody else's podcast.
Again, that's what I was going to say.
They could control it for you. They could direct it.
Exactly. I think unless you're like some kind of guest. I have no problem with Sean O'Malley having a podcast and doing all that extra. That's awesome, I think, but I just think maybe he needs to switch up his topics.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just talk about psychedelics, my bro.
Yeah, or tattoo or whatever. Like, Casey Kenney, where's he fighting in March? Who's he fighting?
So I brought up the card here, and I was trying to look for his name, and I can't. I just can't find Casey.
Well, Google Casey Kenney.
Oh, you know what? He's fighting Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
it's because it's only been an announced fight, hasn't made official.
That's a pretty big time fight for him, man. And he has this stigma going into it now, where he's gonna be asked about it come fight night, or unless I think he came out and apologized too. If you scroll down on the article here, MMA Junkie Albert on the main, I think he said he apologized. He came out, he tweeted out an apology, saying he didn't mean anything by it.
Yeah, It says right here, I'm sorry this upset you. I will be more careful with my words. I was just answering a question and thought it was all a joking matter. I see I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Best of luck with training camp and your fight.
Yeah, so now
so he did apologize, but
does it feel harder?
The damage has already been done.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. Like when it comes to these situations, I think it does mean something if you're apologetic. But the damage has already been done.
Yeah, and the tweet, the video is easier to read than the tweet, right? So I can watch that video in loop, but a lot of people came to Megan Anderson's defense, rightfully so.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, that's it for round number 3.
Which it is a pay-per-view I am very hyped about, because not only are we getting Meg Anderson on the card, who is one of my favorite women fighter, but we got the style bender in that card too. So
it's gonna be a stacked card too. So it goes. If you're gonna have a podcast, watch what you say.
And FYI, Megan Anderson does do extra stuff, and guess what it is? It's video games.
Yeah. So
I'm just putting out that.
Maybe wait until you're out of your career field to talk about your career field. But I think it's just like it does sound cool in theory, right? We're gonna get a camera set up, we have microphones, we're gonna be drinking, that's gonna be cool, man. Unlike anything out there, our podcast is gonna be different, and then you kind of come into stuff like this. So that's it for round number 3. We're going to come back, switch gears, talk about the world of professional wrestling. Albert Cita, with all the streaming things that we subscribe to, we have maybe one less thing to worry about, or maybe one more thing to worry about with the WWE's being purchased by NBC Universal and the Peacock Network. We'll talk about the fallout and what that means for all wrestling fans coming up next.
5-Round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 4. We're switching gears and talking about the world of professional wrestling. Timer started now. Big news this week outside of the ring, outside of any storylines, outside of AEW versus Impact, which kind of disappeared now. It's going to be what? The Good Brothers versus Private Party?
Which organization you're talking about?
AEW versus Impact. That's where we're at now in the storyline,
yeah, but
right?
they both have a different event coming up. So on one side, you got the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega versus Pac, Ray Phoenix, and Jon Moxley.
Okay.
And then on the other side, you got Private Party with Matt Hardy facing not the tag team champion. Sorry,
the Good Brothers. Yeah, the Good Brothers.
Yeah, sorry, they are facing the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
So the Good Brothers doing double duty.
So they're kind of just stretching out a little bit now.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than that, the big news was the WWE Network being bought out by the USA NBC Universal to air exclusively on the Peacock Network, or the streaming thing, which was before this was the only place to watch Office, I guess.
Yeah, that was the whole point of taking The Office out of Netflix. And technically, a lot of popular programming that was on Netflix, they let expire on purpose because everyone has a streaming service.
Yeah.
So I think Friends you can watch on HBO Max. The Office you can watch on Peacock. So
you're pretty much over your cable bill now, what it was before, right? If you get all these streaming services. So anyways, I wasn't a big fan of The Office anyways to get that Peacock Network. But now if you are a subscriber to the WWE Network or you want to subscribe, you have to go through the Peacock Network. Kind of similar how if you want to watch UFC, you have to get ESPN Plus, right? So $1 billion, I think it's for 5 years, this deal. What does this mean? They're still kind of doing the details on how I'm a current subscriber to the network. How am I going to, do I get the Peacock? Do I not get to watch The Office now? Is that how it works? They're still trying to figure it out here, but what is this saying now about the WWE Network and streaming services now? Are you kind of more intrigued now that you'll get, hey, I get the WWE and I also get the Office or whatever else the Peacock Network offers? I don't know what else you offer that, but what are your thoughts on this announcement, and are you intrigued now to kind of get this on your streaming service?
So I'm a little bit, I got 2 fights to pick here. So one, I get it. The more variety you have on the streaming service that you subscribe to is more appealing. You know, like even HBO Max, it has a bunch of underlining things that it's just not HBO stuff. I mean, they have a partnership with Warner Brothers. I think it was like the old classic movies. So they have a variety still, and you know, I guess I feel like Peacock's doing the same thing, but all the other streamers are essentially doing that. They're just trying to give you more bang for your buck, and also at the same time, you know,
build their catalog.
But keep in mind, these are still premium things. So like, you can get Apple TV and watch all the original Apple series that are on there, but you still have to subscribe to Stars. You still have to subscribe to Cinemax to see all their stuff within the Apple TV. And Peacock's doing similar because you still have to pay an additional fee to watch the WWE Network.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, but again, like, I'm not a streaming genius, and I haven't really gone through Peacock, but I know that Peacock has a free base system where they show ads and stuff. You pay an additional something, and they take away the ads, and you can watch more content because some content is locked.
Yeah.
Unless you have the premium service.
Yeah.
But then I think WWE Network is going to be an add-on to Peacock. Now, what I haven't looked up and what I should have done my research is, if I get the free Peacock, can I just add WWE Network and pay for that?
Yeah. I think from what I remember, the Peacock Network, they kind of formed their subscription service on like The Office. So they have the free version. You download that, you get the first 2 seasons of The Office free.
There you go. See,
if you pay like the $4.99, you get like all the seasons of The Office, but like no special features, and there's ads. And I think if you pay like the full $10, you get all the Office, all the extra content, and no ads, plus whatever else they got there too. And I think from what I remember hearing, because as we all know, WWE Network is $9.99 right a month. So if I'm already paying $9.99 a month, should I just get all of Peacock Network already? Right? If it's the same price, so I shouldn't be paying like $20 for that, because I don't really want to watch anything else on the Peacock Network. I just want to watch WWE Network. So they're saying it's going to work out, and details are going to emerge. I think it's going to come WrestleMania time, so like in late March and April.
So right now, in order to watch the Royal Rumble, you still have to go to WWE Network, which is still $10.
Yeah.
So you still have to do that.
So I mean, big deal. I mean, this is I'm not sarcastic. This is a big deal.
But that went really fast.
Yeah.
But I forgot to say the other flip to it. Sometimes I like to just pay for the product and nothing else.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I get so frustrated that I have to go through Spectrum to watch the Dodgers. If the Dodgers would straight up tell me, Albert, pay us $15 a month and you get to watch us, I will gladly pay the Dodgers $15 a month to watch the Dodgers. I don't care about the rest of the junk. And sometimes I feel like that's a smarter venue to go. Like, I only want to watch wrestling. I don't want to see The Office.
Hence the WWE Network.
I don't want to pay for The Office. I just want to see wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's why I do have two. Like, I get it. I love variety, but at the same time, sometimes I'm like, can I just pay you?
Yeah.
Can I just pay you just to see you?
Yeah. Well, apparently it's 5 years, $1 billion. Again, this is why people want to always find reasons for WWE to fail or want them to fail that the marks do anyways. But they just sold their content for 5 years too. 5 years from now, $2 billion.
So we know that WWE ain't going under within the next 5 years.
No. So again, no matter who's beating who on Wednesday night or what, King is here to stay. Vince McMahon again puts more money in his pocket. Apparently, even the people in the WWE Network didn't even know what was going on, like the employees. So hopefully they get to keep their jobs and say, "Hey, we're transitioning." Because I've been a subscriber since day one.
When it comes to big money,
yeah,
the dirt sheets can be involved.
Yeah, man.
So you gotta keep it zip tight.
We'll see how smooth a process this is. You have to get it ironed out before WrestleMania for sure. But in order to watch WWE Network going forward, it's going to be on the Peacock Network. So that's it for round number 4. We got one more round coming up next. We're going to talk about Roman Reigns responding to some choice words the Undertaker had on the Joe Rogan podcast. Don't go anywhere. Come up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. 5th and final round. Albert, we talked about last week when Undertaker was on Joe Rogan's podcast. That was kind of cool to see, but also he said some stuff that really didn't make him popular. More of it's coming out now as people have watched it and kind of responding to it now. One of the biggest ones was Undertaker said, quote, on here, talking about today's product and today's professional wrestlers, saying, quote, I think their product is a little soft. There are obviously guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty, not enough substance, I think. He goes on to say, in that era of guys, there were men, talking about his era. You go into a dressing room nowadays, and it's a lot different. He goes on to say, I remember walking into my first real dressing room, and I saw were some crazy mother effers. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. S got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and effing making sure they look pretty. It's evolution. Guess I don't know what it is, but I just like the eras, man. I liked men were men. I liked it when men were men, end quote. So I took a pretty hard shot at the current batch of WWE superstars, right? Saying that, hey, why aren't you guys carrying guns? Why aren't you guys doing drugs and alcohol like we did back? We pounded Jack Daniels in a pound of 12-pack and then went out to wrestle, right? I guess he doesn't like the fact that these guys are a little more healthier, taking care of their bodies and playing video games and on social media. But like he said, it's a different era. Where the big dog, Roman Reigns, head of the table, responded back. What was his quote saying? He said something about, if you scroll down, Albert, scroll down a little more article. I won't get the quote right. He's saying, he said something about basically, I don't get it. Where is it? Oh, go down right there. He said, we did the same job, Roman Reigns said. It's not like bumps got any worse or any better. It goes on to say, you're always hearing a drop kick was a finish back in my time, kind of did moves here too. But he took to heart what Undertaker said. What are your thoughts on Undertaker's opinion on the current product or the current wrestlers, and then Roman Reigns' response?
Oh, real quick, here's the important one if you want to read this part.
I think it was just like a retired guy trying to sound gangster. Wow.
First
Roman
off,
Reigns.
Again, it's funny. This whole year that we've been kind of discussing Mark Calloway and how it's going to affect that now he's no longer really going to follow his character. But I get it what Roman Reigns is saying, and I agree with him 100%. Where I'm like, that's such a not just an old way of thinking, it's a dumb way of thinking because, like, I hate when people try to argue like how Babe Ruth is the greatest of all time and blah blah blah. It's like I understand that back then you had to have a different mindset and the game was different, but don't ever get it wrong. Babe Ruth wouldn't hit one ball off of Kershaw. One ball. I don't even think he's in the game.
Yeah.
If Kershaw's pitching to Babe Ruth, right? And I mean no disrespect. Same thing with Undertaker. Sure, you had a long career, a successful career, but don't you dare compare yourself to Kenny Omega.
Well, yeah,
the stuff that Kenny Omega does.
Yeah,
and I get.
Well,
what, like,
he's not really talking about the in-ring product. He's talking about the outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
And then again, like, how dumb is that? Let's put on our man card.
Yeah.
Let's keep it 100 real quick. I think the background of the roster that is in wrestling right now would destroy the other. Get out of here! You're gonna tell me a fool coming in drinking a 6-pack is gonna defeat a prime athlete who has a collegiate wrestling background? You get me? Jake Hager. Take Jake Hager. Just take Jake Hager. He will kill your bad boy, the Godfather, who supposedly was one of the toughest guys in the back. Yeah. JBL. You think JBL is going to stand up to Jake Hager? Jake Hager will squash this fool. Squash him.
Inner circle mark right here.
And from what I hear is Jake Hager is probably one of the nicest guys in the back.
Yeah, it seems like, obviously, like, if you're, we're marks for the history business. It was a more protected business.
Yeah.
I always kind of I love professional wrestling. All the rest is what they do. Total respect, putting their travel, all that stuff here. But I always kind of funny whenever it's kind of a weird industry, right? Because it's not real fighting, but you have to be very coarse and tough to be in that business. You're putting your body through a lot of shit. But it's always funny whenever like there's this term of professional wrestling that I think it's so funny, like a legit tough guy.
Yeah,
and that's only for a select few of professional wrestlers. A legit tough guy, meaning a guy who could really fight. So what does that make the other 95% of them? Not tough guys at all, right?
Yeah.
You think they're mostly bodybuilders. They're performance artists, right? So they're not really legit. The fact that Undertaker's saying like, oh, back in my day they were tough guys. Well, any industry that has to have a term legit tough guy, that makes me think that maybe not everybody in the is very tough after all, right? Because it's not like MMA. Well, this guy, he's legit tough guy. What they're all legit tough guys, right?
They gotta be tough guys.
So like to him to kind of take shots at it, it's just a different evolution. Like back in the 80s and 90s, guys were drinking and doing drugs before they went out, right? Or after. Today, we know now drinking and doing drugs is bad for you. So I'm gonna play video games. I'm gonna be on social media. I'm gonna hang out and talk about this. So like to him to kind of compare the two is ridiculous.
In a perfect example, I think just because I've read so much of the stuff he's done and whatever is Bret Hart. He said like, it's a tough business and there's just you gotta have like a vice because that road will eat you up.
Yeah.
And he said it like he's lucky that he didn't pick drugs, but he picked something else that was bad.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, like, what I think what he's trying to get at was, like, it's the road has so much, I guess, chances to eat you alive.
Yeah.
And these wrestlers are doing something positive and using video games. And I
also think that
Seth Rollins is a CrossFit.
Yeah. That was also different back then, too, in the 80s and 90s, where they were traveling 350 days of the year. And there was no internet, there was no laptops to keep them occupied, so you had to get in trouble to pass the time.
And that's what I'm saying.
Nowadays, they're traveling a lot less, and you got your phone, you get all these portable video games with you, your laptop. There's ways to be distracted to stay out of trouble.
And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say like they're less manly somehow or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just they're able to occupy their time in a positive way because of where they're at in the era.
Yeah.
All I was trying to allude to was, if video games were as accessible as they are
back in the 80s.
now, back in the 80s, you would have the same people playing. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, again, like, I don't know if Bret Hart will still, be a womanizer, but I'm pretty sure he would have used more positive. I mean, if he
and maybe a lot more of these wrestlers who wrestled back then would be alive, right? Because they wouldn't have those vices that they kind of did too. So, I mean, Undertaker, maybe we should kind of back off the interviews a little bit.
Yeah,
and kind of reassess.
And almost it's kind of knowing that in a way he's kind of promoting like ignorance.
Yeah,
by saying like, I like it, they have a knife and what.
Yeah,
bro, I'm perfectly fine that Xavier Woods comes in with a controller, not a knife.
Yeah,
like, dude, stop.
Yeah, so
it has nothing to do with being manly.
Yeah,
it's called using your intelligence, bro.
Like the big dog said, Roman Reigns, it's a bump is still a bump, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the ring didn't get softer.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. That's it for this week's show.
Matter of fact, real quick, just because you just got me on one too. just it's actually a little bit harder because these guys, like Undertaker, luckily for him, he spent most of his time in a professional ring in WWE, which they probably had the best ring at the time.
Yeah.
Some of these guys on their way up had to go to all these indie shows. I mean, how some of these indie rings are. They are not good.
Yeah,
I mean, some of them are, dude. Some of them, I remember seeing some matches where I'm like, dude, don't take a bump. Ooh,
yeah,
man, I know that hurt. But I'm just saying. So if you want to go bump for bump,
yeah,
I think some of these guys have taken harder bumps.
Yeah, I just like this, the whole like the term legit tough guy is a term of, like, and it's only reserved for a small number of people in the wrestling business. So like, what does that make everybody else? So it's like, again.
Then again, people do clown on the original Kalisto because I think he like dislocated his finger and he didn't want to continue the match.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, dude, that's but
he's not legit tough guy.
Not a legit tough guy.
Anyway, that's it for this week's show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week. Make sure to keep up to date with us on all of our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're also on TikTok as well. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. Maybe we'll try, Albert and I try to get our choreography up. So we got a little dance video for you guys, our lip syncing as well. We'll get that going. Make sure to follow us all. It's FiveRoundMMA. YouTube, subscribe, comment, like, turn on notifications. We don't blow your notification up on a daily basis. We got a couple videos a week, once a week, that stuff like that. So please turn on notifications. Stay up to date with us as well. Visit FiveRoundMMA.com. And I thank everybody for listening here. Again, we'll have our recap and reactions to the Royal Rumble next week as we enter the road to WrestleMania. Super excited. The best time of the year. Again, thank you for listening. Albert, got anything before we leave?
Nah, just thank everybody for listening.
All right. See you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.